Welcome back. This is Microsoft Virtual Academy, and we're talking about getting started with Template 10. Hi, Jerry. How are you doing?
Hi, Darren. I'm having a great time. We're talking about behaviors. There's a whole slew of them, a whole library full in Template 10.
Absolutely. The specific one we're talking about today is device disposition behavior.
Device disposition behavior. That's right. This is a trigger behavior, which means it has child actions. And it also means that when it is invoked or listens for an event, it runs those children for you. So, what is device disposition? Well, it's very similar to device family. If inside Windows 10...
So it's not a happy device or an unhappy device?
No, it's not. Well, I don't know. Might be depending on all kinds of things. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know about that. Device disposition actually is an extension of device family. Device family allows me to ask whether or not this is a mobile device, whether or not this is a desktop, whether or not it's HoloLens. Those are all important device families, but there are a handful of edge cases that aren't covered in that. For example, am I running on a phone? Even more so, am I running on a phone that's currently running in Continuum? And so those are the extra edge cases we want to make sure we account for. Yeah. And so we're calling those device disposition. And so let's take a look. When I open this up and I look at the properties dialog, that property dialog gives me a series of checkboxes. Each of those checkboxes is basically saying, when this, then execute those commands. Many of these don't change, so you would only get the initial execution when you load it, but it's different with a phone. The phone can move on and off of Continuum, and depending on whether or not it's in Continuum, that will raise again. There are changed events for that. To be clear, Continuum is when your phone is plugged into a HDMI device, and it shows almost a PC-like experience.
Or you could be using Miracast or something along those lines.
Or Miracast, that's right. You could do it wirelessly. Then we have desktop, which is what you would expect. It's a standard PC. We have HoloLens and IoT. IoT, of course, means it's running IoT Core. Mobile it's running the mobile SKU, which is an umbrella SKU for several of these subtypes. And so mobile, you might be running on a tablet, which is just mobile. You might be running on a phone, which is one of the sub-items under mobile. And then you might also, then Continuum, I guess, is under phone as well. Nested. It's turtles all the way down.
Yeah.
And then Team is what we call internally, Surface Hub.
Surface Hub, yes.
Yeah, you might be running on Surface Hub, and so you can run it there as well. And then Xbox is Xbox, and then there's Virtual, which is determining whether or not you're running on a VM, more specifically if you're running in Hyper-V or the emulator for the phone.
Yeah, which is useful, especially for diagnostic information and those kind of things.
And, yeah, that's right, and giving us a good debug experience when we're running in the emulator on our device.
And we can't wait until we actually have things running on Xbox.
Right, that's true. And so all of these operate as an or. Any of them can be true, and the actions will execute. In fact, the easiest way to understand this perhaps might be a quick demo. And I have Visual Studio open so that you can see it. And I have 3 buttons placed on the details page. One of them is do something desktop only. Another one is do something phone only. And another is do something Continuum only. And so we'll demonstrate all 3 of those. Each of them has the behavior attached to it. You can see the device disposition behavior is added to all 3 of these buttons, none of which are visible inside the designer because they're all defaulted to visibility collapsed. And
behaviors don't run inside the designer.
And behaviors don't run, so we can't show them. And then we'd have to add another one that says designer equals true. All right, so the first one is set up. You can see desktop is true. None of the others will make it true. You can add as many of these together as you want to, but in this case, for a simple demo, we don't. I'll drop down to Continuum, just so you can see Continuum is true. It's as simple as that, and you're done. And then we have phone is true, but because I'll be debugging this on an emulator, I include virtual is true as well. Remember, this isn't an and, this is an or. So when I do run this on the phone, it'll still be true, even though it's not in an emulator. So that's pretty nice. And cool. All right, so what do? They all have the same operation. All they do is they just change property. In this case, they're changing the visibility property to visible so you can see that. And so to show you what that looks like, let me start by running it here on my local machine. So this is going to be desktop only. And so it'll load a standard minimal template. I'll navigate to the detail page, like so. And you can see I have the do something desktop only button is enabled or visible, and all the others are gone. If I were to run this instead on the emulator, I already have it running here, so I don't have to deploy it. If I were to submit to the second page, you can see the exact code is running. Do something phone only is running. And now we kind of need to see what it would be like to run on Continuum. It happens to be convenient that you, Darren, have a 950 in your hand, and behind us is an actual Continuum screen and not a normal
We're
screen.
spoofing everybody out at this point. And so here we go. We're going to launch our highly designed logo.
Pretty sweet X.
And so our application is starting up. And so if we submit,
Go ahead and pass it.
now we can see it says do something Continuum only.
Do something Continuum only. Beautiful. And so Continuum only, that remember is inside the phone umbrella.
And probably we should know that we should make that much bigger if we want that to actually show up in the cameras.
You'll just have to trust us. But that says do something Continuum only. For all you know,
it works
says,
so
do
much
something
better when
desktop.
your nose is pressed against the
It says
screen.
IoT only.
Exactly.
For all you know, just trust
Merry
us. It
Christmas,
works like a charm. The disposition behavior is probably one of the handiest ones for developers writing UWP apps that run across multiple devices. It might be the case that the app that you're writing really only run on one device, and this isn't interesting to you. But as soon as you start diving into the logic to figure out which device you're running on, especially these sub cases, it's pretty tricky, and Templat 10 has done the logic. And as we go into Redstone and we start introducing new capabilities, and there's talk of touchback for Continuum, then we'll handle all those as well. So this is a cool way for you to be able to handle this in a declarative way in behaviors that have all the logic built in for you. This is the device disposition behavior in Templat 10. Free for you. Good luck.
Easy for us.
Yeah, exactly.